Alright, this is Avengers 256, and this is a great issue. It is a really brilliant two-part story. Heavily recommend. Roy Sternman and Sal Buscema smashing the benchmark of quality in the late 80s. This is must-read Avengers comics. And of course, with this one, Christopher Clairvoyant retconned it and made it a shambling corpse of a story. Ignore that though, much like with Kurt Busey's stuff. Ignore the retcons. Take the story at face value, the way that it was intended. How was Roy Sternman to know that a year later someone would selfishly undo most of this great story because Roy Sternman had the nerve to touch something that Christopher Clairvoyant considered his. Anyway, here is a ferryman from fairyland. And he has come to New York to visit Hercules Man. We have a great Avengers squad for this story. Hercules Man is one of the MVPs in it, as is Darth Knight over here. After some thinking about it, when we discussed Darth Knight in Doctor Strange, issue 68, and his apparent lack of a definitive story, him not having a big story arc all about him, the more I think on it, the more I believe those black and white UK stories are that. It is a story starring him. He is the main character, and he is involved in this big epic fantasy adventure. If you are keen to read them, they were collected recently in the new Captain Britain omnibus, which I didn't get because I have the ad one and the ad covers. I might look at that story one weekend, the Darth Knight one, look at it with edits and shit. It is interesting, and I think it might be the closest we will ever get to Darth Knight having a Born Again or an Armor Wars. One thing we start setting up here is Darth Knight and his feelings for Wasps. He ends up having a one-sided crush on her that never quite gets resolved. He just moves on eventually. I never really understood why Wasps didn't gan for it with him. He's not a bad catch, and they could have made beautiful Avengers babies together. I think the line they offer is that he reminds her too much of her ex-husband, which is a massive insult, and she just wants to be friends. I will give a big shout out to Darth Knight, who didn't use the rejection as an excuse to gan on a shooting spree. After this, here we get introduced to Hercules Man's rip-roaring 80s design. It was actually designed by Jason Byrne. It's introduced here, and it remains his default design for quite a bit. This is, to me, Hercules Man's best look. It's every bit as goofy as Hercules Man's costume should be. It was obviously very A-Man inspired, and his subsequent new costumes nearly all follow suit of being more and more A-Man-esque. But this is where it should have stayed. This costume reflects everything about this character, and that is why it is his best design. With this issue, it actually takes quite a bit to get to the meat of the plot. We do a lot of downtime stuff. We have some admin here, which is restoring Wasps to her position as leader of the Avengers. And now a lot has been said about Captain Marbles, the real one, Monica Rambeau, and her time as leader of the Avengers. But for me, it was always Wasps, who I felt was the good leader of the Avengers in this run. I liked her, and I think it always made sense and strengthened her character. When they have her resign and replace her with Monica, it felt like it was actually taking away a lot from Wasps and her growth as a character under Roy Sternman. Then we cut to outer space, where we catch up with the aforementioned Captain Marbles, the real one, Monica Rambeau. This is a subplot we started last issue, and it festers in the background for these 2 issues. She is in space, and she has encountered space pirates being led by Karen Gillan. Next issue is when we get to Karen Gillan's introduction, her first appearance. And then after that, the space stuff takes centre stage, with the rest of the team showing up to help Monica. We finally start getting to the main story. 15 pages in, the Avengers are called out to investigate a shipwreck. And obviously, it's not an ordinary shipwreck. We learn that the ship was transporting a giant space lance. And then the owner of said weapon came about to reclaim his property. I have reviewed the first appearance of this character, so you might be able to guess who it is if you exclusively only learn about comics from my channel. But we have a lot of stuff with the characters reacting to things, and I love that. And their pursuit of the culprit leads them to Quasar and the Savage Land. And I hate the Savage Land so much, I am not even bothering to come up with a silly name for it. The Savage Land. The Sewage Land. The Savagely Boring Land. Hate it. Absolutely hate it. Base idea is okay, but everything done with it is terrible. It is a mystical jungle that has dinosaurs, and most of the stories involving it, outside of Quasar, are Christopher Clairvoyant ones. And anyway, our big threat is Terminal, who was, at this point, brilliant character. This story is the last time we will ever be able to say that. This is the last time this character was any good. I guess you could say he gans out with a bang. If you just read these 2 Avengers issues, you would consider Terminal one of the best bad guys around. I have already said I recommend it. It is a great 2-parter, and the individual issues have their qualities too. A lot of character beats in this one. Some superhero admin, which I am always a fan of. And we get a new and the best costume for Hercules, man. Of course, it is a 7 thumbs up. I didn't think this is centered again. There, that's centered. I'm not re-recording it because of that.